Nothing stays the same for long in motor racing, and at Thruxton for rounds 5 and 6 the wild card was the weather. Rain was forecast, conditions which would suit the four-wheel drive Audis, and wet weather tyres were being piled up in the already crowded pit lane as the drivers prepared for qualifying action. But to everybody's surprise, the track stayed dry. And to no one's surprise, the Lagunas were fastest again. Menu leading Plato to a Renault 1-2. But as the cars came to the start line for round 5, the rain began to fall, with most of the field on slick, dry weather tyres. The gamble now was, do you risk your race place by dashing into the pits for treaded tyres, or do you stay out on slicks? All the leaders opted to start on slicks in the hope that conditions would improve. The four-wheel drive Audis proved to be in a class of their own. Menu and Tarquini were the only drivers to brave it out with Beeler and Bincliffe through the opening laps. But as the weather got worse rather than better, the two-wheel drive cars could only fight for third place on the podium, as Frank Beeler, followed by Bincliffe, stormed to victory.
We weren't sure is it going to rain or not, and I think then when it started to rain it was perfect for us. With the Quattro it's quite easy to drive under these conditions, and all the others had more problems, I think.
Further down the field, some drivers did elect to change tyres, but this isn't the world of Formula One pit stops. For a start, the pit lane's much more crowded. Secondly, it's a difficult job to squeeze those 9-inch wide racing tyres under a touring car wheel arch. John Cleland in particular paid the price, losing vital seconds with a jammed rear wheel.
But it was a cock-up because, you know, without the back tyre getting jammed or the wheel not doing whatever it did, which is just one of those things, I'm afraid. But, you know, if we're going to be in a position to change tyres and try to get back out and among it, that was the call. We'd have been inside the top 10. I mean, to finish 13th was okay after being last, but I could have been 7th or 8th in that race, no problem.
And as the conditions went from bad to worse, the only drivers smiling were the Audi drivers. Cars were aquaplaning in all directions, some even on their wet weather tyres. And a number of the drivers had serious doubts as to whether the race should have even been allowed to continue.
It's the most dangerous conditions I think I've ever driven in. We all know the perils of this circuit, and okay, it wasn't too damp to start with, so everyone started on slicks, but then the heavens opened, and I mean, trying to drive a 1,000-kilo car on slick tyres when it's aquaplaning and you've got no control, you know, I really think the race should have been stopped at that time. And you know, it's not because I'm a wimp, I'll drive in anything. You know, if I'd had a wheelbarrow I'd have driven it because I like driving in the wet, as you know. But, you know, when people aren't in control of the cars and they're flying off everywhere, you should really stop the race and give people a chance to put the right tyres on.
It was the most frightening 18 laps of my life. It was just impossible to drive. And yeah, I'm frustrated because, you know, I was racing back with the privateers, and I don't expect to be doing that.
But for Frank Beeler, the only shower that worried him was the champagne shower. A dry start to the second race at Thruxton, but another surprise for the Renaults, outpaced off the line by the Hondas of Tarquini and Thompson. But behind them, Beeler's victory celebrations ended on the opening lap, back to earth literally with a crash.
Excuse me, that was Johnny.
Stay there, man, right? Stay there, right? Stay there, man. Are you all right?
Yes.
With the wrecked Audi right on the edge of the track, the safety car was sent out to control the pace. Beeler was unhurt but furious. The fact that it was his teammate John Bincliffe that was responsible added insult to injury. No blame apportioned to either driver, just simply a racing incident. But now the drivers had other problems. The rain was starting again, the cars on slick tyres. Was it worth a pit stop?
Now they're just showing the wet race sign in the pit lane. So if you should want to change tyres, obviously now the time to do it while you're behind the safety car.
It's looking like it's going to toss it down, you know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115
The safety car has definitely put its lights out. It's wet enough yet. What do you reckon? It's raining quite hard here, John. Why don't we do what we said and take a flyer at it? Yeah, go on. Throw some intermediates on it. Okay. Intermediate front and the soft wet on the rear. Yes, we'll do that. Okay, we're ready for you.
The green light on the track for Tarquini, the green light in the pits for Cleland, but he wasn't alone in deciding to make a pit stop.
Everybody's got the same idea, John. Yeah, it's okay. We'll worry about it in a while. As you said, we gamble.
Out on the track, Tarquini in the Honda had his mirrors full of Renault. Menu had found his way past Thompson to second, while a lap down, Kelvin Burt and the Volvo were in trouble. It was a clear indication again just how treacherous track conditions were becoming. But back in the pits, there was a bank holiday traffic jam, as Vauxhall, Ford, Nissan and Peugeot fought to get back on the track. Tim Harvey in particular scattered all before him in what was the start of an epic drive through the field. Poor Radicic, in contrast, found himself at the back of the queue. Harvey in the Peugeot was now the fastest car on the track, and when he caught up with John Cleland, there were the inevitable fireworks. A masterful recovery by Cleland kept the 95 champion on the track, while Harvey, the 91 champion, was now closing fast on Burt's Volvo, a lap down, and Menu in second place. Harvey, the driver in the British Championship, but has the reputation of being the rainmaster. He was proving it here at Thruxton, diving down in the inside of Church Corner, the fastest corner in Great Britain. The pace of the Peugeot was obvious and evidence that another car had race-winning potential this season. But at the chicane, Gabriele Tarquini was heading for Honda's first win of the year. Coming up to lap the total cup-winning Mondeo of Matthew Neal on his way to the line. Checkered flag for Tarquini, but behind him the battle was still raging for second. The inspired Harvey passing Menu to give Peugeot their best ever British Touring Car Championship result. But it was victory for Gabriele Tarquini, a moment to savour for the ProDrive team who prepared the car, while Harvey too proved that Renault can be beaten, rain or shine. No trophies this time for Menu, but 11 more championship points from round 6 kept him well ahead of the battle for second between Rydell and Tarquini, with Plato fourth, and Harvey had moved to equal 6th in the Drivers' Championship, with just 4 points covering the bottom half of the top 10. But on the top step of the podium, Gabriele Tarquini was determined he wasn't going to waste all the champagne. He wanted personally to enjoy the taste of victory. Truxton, though, was a clear demonstration that you need much more than a fast car and a quick driver for touring car success. It hinges on a team performance with every part vital, including the pit crew and the choice of tyres. And there were plenty, even Tim Harvey, who felt they could have chosen better.
As soon as I got out onto the track, I knew it was the wrong choice.
I think we perhaps put the wrong compound tyre on the left rear, so I'm disappointed that we made exactly the right call, drove the right race, but you know, we probably didn't put the right, compound tyre on the left rear.
I don't know what we put on the car, but I just had the most horrific understeer I've ever seen.